Yeah.
My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
Yes, it is Judd's Hockey Show. Judd Zulgad, Declan Goff, back at full strength. Always were. All of that good stuff. Coming off the Wild 7th consecutive win as they remain red hot, beating the woeful Philadelphia Flyers on Tuesday night at the X. If you would like to hear a dissection of what is going on with the Flower, Marc-Andre Fleury, well, guess what? The Hockey Whisperer hit on that today, Mackie and Judd. So plenty of talk about the Wild's acquisition and how well the future Hall of Fame goaltender is playing. But you know what, Declan? We are reserving this edition of Judd's Hockey Show to discuss the guy that drives ratings, the guy that drives goal scoring, the guy that drives production. And I'm sorry, it's not you. It is the man, Kirill Kaprizov. That's right, a little upper deck trading card right there, given out Saturday at the X. Kirill Kaprizov, who scored yet another goal last night, really should have had two. The second one looked like a goal. Ryan Hartman was pushed into Martin Jones, the Philadelphia goaltender, by Travis Sanheim. The Wild didn't challenge, quite frankly, because they were kicking the Flyers' ass. And so 1 goal for Kirill Kaprizov. He's now at 37 goals, which is 4 off Eric Stahl and Marian Gabourik's record, or 5 off of 42 goals. He is now 1 point away from tying Marian Gabourik's single season record set in 2007-8 of 82 points. Or was it 83 points for Gaborik, and he's at 82. The point being this: Kirill Kaprizov, I think, Declan Goff, it is safe to say that this man right here, a year plus into his tenure with the Minnesota Wild, is the most dynamic National Hockey League player in this town, including North Stars players. So dating back to 1967-68, when the North Stars were an expansion team and they left after the 92-93 season, and I started to watch them very intently and was a huge fan starting in circa 1980-ish or so, 79. So I saw Zuccarello, I saw Broughton, I saw a lot of good players. Before that, probably Goldsworthy, who I did not see, qualifies as being an elite Minnesota hockey player. Bobby Smith, I saw. I have seen the Wild since they started playing in 2000. You have seen a lot of that as well. Mm-hmm. I think as far as talent goes, so we're not talking pure statistical output yet, because Kirill has not had time to put up significant stats. But that being said, I do not think it's a reach today to sit here and say the most dynamic player that we have seen wear a National Hockey League jersey in this state, and that includes 2 teams now, is Kirill Kaprizov. I don't even think that's a hot take, Dex.
It's not a hot take. I can't speak for North Stars players. I mean, I know the lore of North Stars players, but I never saw them play. I was 5 months old when they ditched town to go to Dallas, so I can't really speak on that. But just in terms of Wild players, he is the most dynamic player the Wild have ever had. And he's played, I have it right here in front of me. He's only played in 119 games, and I can make that assumption. I've seen Marian Gaborik, who I loved, playing for 5-7 years here, and he was great. Zach Parise was a hard workman's type player and a very good decorated player. Will eventually be in the Wild's Ring of Honor. I don't know if he was going to get his jersey retired, but we're not going to talk about that right now. When you think of all these great players all the players, because I don't even want to use the term great, all the players that the Wild have employed over their 20 years of existence, there's one that stands alone. It's not even close. Like even the parity, like if you want it pre-Kaprizov, like, Gaborik, okay, he's probably unanimous. And then it's Mikko. And, Mikhail Granlund was nice, and Brian Rolston was nice, and Dimitra was fun. Yeah. It's not even close.
I don't think
the Wild's debate.
I don't think the Wild's close now. Like, I don't think that Gaborik, until Kaprizov, is easily their most dynamic player. Yes. And that's the conversation here, because, I mean, hopefully Kirill Kaprizov has years left to play and accumulate counting stats, right? So there's a lot left for him to accomplish. But that being said, when we're talking dynamic players, Koivu at his very best was a really good player. He was a hell of a player. He could win faceoffs. He was good, but he was good. I'm talking flat out this. So This, I guess, is the way to explain it the best. When the Wild plays games now, unless they're playing a terrible game, if it's close, you think to yourself, one guy is going to tip the scales. Kaprizov. I'm talking flat out dynamic. Zuccarello could have that, but again, he was a goal scorer. Kirill Kaprizov's a complete player. I mean, that's the incredible thing. And look, I know that from the North Stars days, Declan, the game has come a long way. The players are better. Their skating is phenomenal. So yes, Kirill Kaprizov, based on the era he's playing in, is destined to be and is more dynamic. But I'm talking about a guy who brings the completeness. Now, Broughton was a great player too, but you didn't have the feeling that Neil Broughton could basically, for lack of a better term, just do it himself. That's how I feel with Kaprizov. He brings everyone at his best, everyone around him up. But my God, he gets the puck and you can't take your eyes off of him ever. I can't articulate enough how, just as far as sports go too, forget just hockey, how dynamic this guy is, how much this guy can create himself, how good. I mean, Matt Zuccarello and him have something special. But let's be honest. Matt Zuccarello, his first year here, and I know he was banged up and hurt still, but he looked like a bust. And he's with Kaprizov now, and credit to him, he's played really well. So I'm taking nothing away from him. But you've also put Kirill Kaprizov on a line with Zuccarello and Hartman, and look at what's happened to both of them, Declan. Like, these are not ordinary things, and I just urge everybody, do not take this for granted. We are watching something incredibly special here, incredibly fun, and what ordinarily would be hyperbole on my part, I think is a very sound statement. We are witnessing one of the most dynamic athletes ever in this state on a professional team.
Yeah, it's just been unreal to watch. And look, how I feel about Kevin Fiala. He is he's the Robin to this Batman that is Kirill Kaprizov. And Fiala, when he is on, and boy has he been on after a slow start to the season, he's damn good. I hope the Wild can keep him. We'll see if they can do that. But you now have a legitimate superstar. Like, Fiala was never going to be the superstar of this team. Insanely good complementary piece. And to be honest, if Fiala goes to somewhere else, that is his next role. That's still his ceiling of being a very good complementary piece. Probably not the superstar on a team, but a very good dynamic player. And still, when we saw Fiala really start to break things out over the last 2 years, and we're like, man, this guy's good. We haven't seen a player like this with this dynamic skill. For God's sakes, the goal he scores at the end line yesterday was absurd. He can create his own shot and also get highlight reel goals. But then you watch Kirill Kaprizov, and to be honest, it's not even close. It's not even close to what Kirill can create versus what Fiala can create. And Judd, I kind of want to go back because the first 8 games this season, Kirill didn't score a single goal. Not a single goal. And he really wasn't.
Against the Senators, I believe, was his first
game.
Game.
Yeah, against the Sens on the 9th game of the year, a 2-point night, a goal and assist. So his first 8 games this season, no goals. Had some assists, which was fine, but no goals. And then all of a sudden, something clicked. And on game 9, throughout the rest of the season, so in 56 games played, he has scored 37 goals, has 39 points, 39 assists, 76 points, shooting a crap ton, 206 shots on net. That's 3.5 shots per game. His shooting percentage of 18%, which is typically on the side of, hey, that's a little obtainable. Like, that's above league average. You can't really keep that going. Well, when you're shooting at a high rate like this, shooting percentage can increase and it is sustainable. So this isn't unsustainable is what I'm trying to say. This is legitimate. He has 27 goals on even strength. 10 of them have come on the power play. He creates his own ability night in and night out. Yes. And I brought up the fact with you and Mackie and Judd on who gets it, who doesn't on Tuesday about the impact that Zuccarello has with him. Because clearly Zuccarello has found his a second wind here. He's having a career season. He's already had his best season ever in terms of points. And we were labeling him, yes, as a bust after year 1. And Zuccarello has this great superstar to help create for him. But Kirill Kaprizov is the story here. This is what superstar players can do. They can carry you.
True superstars. 100% right. 100% right. And a winger, too. A winger, not a center.
Right.
Zuccarello's need and love to pass would be annoying with Fiala. And you would say, okay, he scores goals off that sometimes, but shoot the damn puck, Mats, right?
Yeah.
Kirill Kaprizov is so dynamic and so good, and his ability to set up Mats at times makes that pairing special. I'm glad you brought up Kevin, because he allows us the ability to talk about the fact that there were some certainly North Stars players, and maybe like a Gabrick, that Fiala was like, right? Because I don't want to take away from the fact he's a special player. He's really good. Like that trade, Granlund is having, I believe, a good year. But that trade, the Paul Fenton trade, 10 out of 10 times, as bad as the Boston trade might look, as bad as the Niederreiter trade with Carolina looks now, the Kevin Fiala trade is, in my opinion, a great trade. And he's a special player. And I've seen guys like him before, and they are not to be taken for granted. And if Kevin Fiala is not back, in my opinion, with the Wild next season, you will miss him. Like, he brings you something. Yeah. You're right. That goal he scored last night, a lot of guys can't shoot that puck. That's a 90-degree angle short side. That is a hard goal to score. But here's where Kaprizov, and I was watching the game in the press box last night thinking about this, and I don't know that I have an answer, and it's what makes what I'm about to say so damn impressive. What does he do best? Like, when Fiala's going his best, I can tell you what he does best. He scores. He scores goals. He's an unbelievable, like, he's got talent. He can skate. He can shoot. His ability to score, but it ultimately ends with his ability to score goals. When I watch Kirill, I tweeted this last night. First of all, it's as if his stick has a magnet to the puck. It finds him. And like with everything with him, in watching his game, you start to take it for granted. It's like, oh, of course the puck's on his stick. Well, no, that's not how life works. Like, it doesn't work that way, but it does. His edging, his skating, he skates like a figure skater. It is magnificent. Again, you get used to it, but he literally can move. He shifts. I mean, Dex, watch in his goal, the counted that he scored last night. He does this. He is constantly with his stick, his hand movements, arms, and skating, changing his angle. The goaltender doesn't know where the puck's coming from because he's continually moving it. Like, you think about the amount of guys that get the puck, tee up, and shoot, right? And they can have good shots and they can score goals. But with Kirill, it's not just the shot that's deadly, it's where it's coming from and the fact that he's constantly moving the point. So that goal last night, go back and watch it and look at where the puck is it moves, bang, goal. I can't tell you what he does best because he does so many things, and so many of them are just small little tweak things, but he does so much so well. And it's like, because last night I said, I'm going to really watch him again, because I feel like every like 10 games I need, especially at the arena, to just focus.
Yeah.
And you realize all of the little things that I don't think he thinks about, but they're God-given abilities, and they are phenomenal to watch. And that goal last night, I really thought hammered home the points of what's the difference between Kevin and Kirill. That's sort of the difference.
Yeah. What I always have told people in the last year and a half, and now that, thankfully we're back at full capacity and there's not restrictions and whatnot, go watch him in person. Like, you can see him on TV and it's fun. Like, I was watching the game on TV yesterday, and was in awe watching him just absolutely skate up and down the ice. Like you said, the way he moves his twig, but when you're there in person, it's so different. And he just commands the ice and the ice tilts his way. What was it, Judd? Like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I forget the exact game they were playing against. Kirill gets off the bench, touches the puck, and you already can hear that little hum from the crowd. Like, oh. Yep. And then he starts doing the cycling around the net. I think he made like 2.5, 3 laps, and everyone, I really can't explain it. Everyone was on pins and needles and waiting for what the hell he was going to do, and that buzz that he creates when he has the puck. Like, I can't remember, legitimately. You probably obviously remember it with the Vikings in the early days of Moss and whatnot and Culpepper, but I can't remember an athlete in my lifetime that is literally worth that price of admission just to watch him play and get that type of excitement. Like it might be Moss. KG in his heyday, was super fun because he was so rambunctious and really in your face.
But he didn't have that. He didn't have this talent.
KG had, KG had the work ethic, right? Like KG was going to outwork your ass.
Right.
Kirill Kaprizov's going to just outclass you in every facet.
Yeah, this is probably as close. So North Stars wise, this is probably, but I don't think he got here completely here where Madonna was. Different player. Kirill, the one thing too is, or not the one thing, another thing is how damn strong Kirill is. And now it helps that he didn't come here at 18 or 19. He came here at 23, 24. So, but I mean, this guy is strong as an ox. His reverse hit. So the cycle thing is fun because the cycle thing he makes look so simple again. And that's my test for greatness. Rod Carew. You watched Carew hit and thought, I can do that. Look at how he just, did this bat, just so it's so easy. Okay, that's a tremendous talent. When Kirill does the cycle thing, my guess, Dex, 90+% of the league, if they tried that, would get their block knocked off.
Yeah. Like
you would get destroyed. You think a big defenseman doesn't want to lay him out and embarrass him? But he does it all the time. He makes it look so simple. And the speed, like think about the elements that go into that cycle. Incredible speed, the ability to control the puck and move the puck so like no one else can get it. It's literally a game of keep away in the NHL. In the NHL, who can do that? McDavid?
Yep.
Kaprizov? I mean, how many guys can do that currently? How many guys can do that game of keep away? McDavid can. I've seen him. But it's a small list. And this is why I've come to the probably not, again, hot take conclusion. I think Kirill Kaprizov right now, top 10 in the entire league. Like you name me 10 players that are better. And I know it's homer bias because we watch them every game. But you name me 10 players in this league right now who have a greater skill set. I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean obviously, McDavid and Draisaitl are fun.
Austin Matthews.
Yeah, he's definitely up there.
And he changes the angle of things. I mean, that's the thing that we don't appreciate. Like when you're dipping your shoulders, right, and you're moving the puck. Yep. And to go back to what we talked about last year as well, Kirill Kaprizov, I think the thing that amazes me at times, just on the long list of it, is when he has the puck, how he can move. And I think I talked about this with you last season in a phone booth. Like he will make moves that are up against his body. It's like my arms would fall off. And he makes those moves with the puck. And he makes them look simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, Draisaitl, McDavid.
I think I'm looking at the list right now, just like in terms of point leaders, and it's McDavid, Draisaitl, Huberdeau, which he's good, but I don't put him in the same class as Kirill. Like he's having a great year in Florida. He's a phenomenal player.
I would need to see more. I don't put him in the
same class. I need to see more. Right. I don't put him in the same class.
I need to see more there.
Yeah. Johnny Gaudreau's fourth in points.
He ain't.
I think he's more dynamic than Johnny. Johnny has a case to win a Hart this year, but no.
Kirill's a more dynamic player than Johnny Gaudreau.
I maybe it tilted to Matthews a little bit. Matthews is so damn good. I mean, he's got 50. Yeah. He's got 49 goals. He's a stud.
He's fantastic. I agree.
Kyle Connor's got 41 goals this year, but I think he's just more of a natural goal scorer than he is gifted.
Yeah.
Like Connor's a great. He's a great goal scorer. Like Fiala, Fiala when he's feeling himself is a great goal scorer. I don't put him in the same talent level, in my opinion, as Kirill. And I think Judd. I think literally, and look, I'm sparing Sidney and Ovechkin for obvious reasons. Yes, they are two of the best players of all time in our last 20 years. I'm putting them in a class they're up there in age. It's not the same. Like yes, they are still unbelievable players, first ballot Hall of Famers. And in their primes, it's different. But right now, I don't put them in this discussion. Like if you were starting a
franchise, like top 10, and Ovechkin and Crosby are great, but you're right. They are in more of the Hall of Fame category than I would take him right now category.
Pasta in Boston's good. Barkov in Florida is also good.
See, I don't see
real
enough
good.
Panthers to know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't comment. I can't comment on the Panthers for sure. I love Pasta, but I would take Kirill before I took Pasta. Again,
Oh
it's
yeah,
the completeness of the game. It's the dynamic of the game. I mean, I have seen guys that can score a ton of goals, and that's really impressive. And I am not denigrating them one bit. But like when we are talking about Fiala and Kirill, it's not a choice.
right.
And you are Fiala's top fan. Like you love the guy.
Yeah, I love the guy.
So like this is nothing, but there's a difference between having a skill set and you're like, that's your skill set and you're great at it. And that's awesome. And I think the best compliment I can give to Kirill is I can't tell you what his best attribute is. I mean, I think it might be the skating, but then the puck control's phenomenal.
Yeah, that was. I don't know. You could really do some fun old takes exposed on us, but I think the question I had before he came over here from Russia, because he put up the big box score numbers, and we weren't ever really able to see him, was because the thing is with Russian phenoms that light up the KHL and come over to the NHL is either number one, work ethic, and two, they're just not good. They're not good enough skaters. They're not good enough skaters. And boy, like, were we even wrong to question if this guy can or can't skate? He can absolute fly. And the way he's built, there'd be times where he gets his bell rung, like, oh God, he's going to get pushed off the puck. No, he keeps it. He literally, he still possesses the puck. Oh, he's not a pushover.
No, he's strong as hell. He's strong as an ox. He's stronger than most players. Hey, that hit in Boston by Frederick, he should have been out for a month.
Right.
This guy is built differently. Like he's constructed like a machine. That's what I'm saying I mean, dude, I'm 52. I've watched the sport for a long time. I'm old. Yeah. I shouldn't be knocked over by a player, but I am, partially because the Wild has never had a player close to this. I don't care what Wild player you liked. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like absolutely.
You know, the Gabrick thing to me has just completely sailed. I mean, Marian Gabrick was at his best. He was good, but go back to the fact that Gabrick didn't play defense. I mean, this guy, what would you say Kirill Kaprizov's, conversely from what I've said, weakness is? Like what part of his game, other than the fact that he doesn't play like this every single night? Well, nobody really does. Like what do you watch and say, yeah, I don't know about that. Like once in a while he has a game where I'm like, I didn't see him and I don't like that. But I mean, I also can't say that he's not lazy. He works his ass off most of the time.
He does tend, and this is, I think it's more of you get these two people in the same room. Sometimes you get the same guy and you don't get the end result you want because both of them are in the same room. You know, you get one person, you don't get the other. You get other, you don't get the one person, you know. Him and Zuccarello can sometimes get too cute.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with things.
Yes.
That's just like, God dang it, can one of you two just quit tic-tac-toeing and just blast the damn thing?
Right.
But again, that's because they're still creating possession and they're still like, I don't have an answer for you.
No, you're right. And they will. So I agree. That's a great point, and I agree with you completely. But they create sometimes so beautifully that you're like, oh, I start again, right? So it's hard to pick on like what he doesn't do well. Your point's an intriguing one though, because I believe it was in the postgame last night, Dean Evison, and I think he's talking about Mats and Kirill sometimes without naming them. Talked about the fact that, and this clearly frustrates the coaching staff, the first power play gets way too cute. Like I think at one point he basically said that he threatened to pull them off the ice if they continued to pass. And I think that's aimed largely at 97 and 36. But again, every time we go down that path and we're like, okay, this is a bunch of BS, they'll score some sensational bleeping goal and you'll be like, oh, okay, that was pretty good. So yeah, it's difficult to find fault here, but I just, in watching that again last night and the appreciation that I have for the fact that superstar players are damn hard to find.
Yeah, they really are.
Like we're fortunate right now.
As we're kind of wrapping up and maybe just transitioning a little bit here, I'm curious because I was talking with a friend of mine last night, and the way he's getting banged up, and the kind of the cushion you still have, do you give Marcus Foligno a maintenance game here soon?
He got hurt
you
again
allow
last
him? I mean,
night.
he got banged up last week too. I'm forgetting
Yep,
the
against
game he
Columbus.
got hurt against Columbus.
He went to the locker or went up the stairs twice.
I love his game, and he plays a hard nosed game. And we're at the point of the season where no one is no one's 100% healthy, and that's the grind of the NHL playoffs, right? But I would hate, and I know he went down the tunnel again last night, and there might be even something already where they have a plan for him here. But I would give this guy a night or two off. I would. I know it's hard to do when you're winning games, but I would give the guy a maintenance day. I would hate to lose him long-term in the playoffs.
Yeah, so he got hurt late in the game last night. He collided in the open ice with Owen Tippett and actually delivered a hit that shook Tippett up, but Foligno grabbed his hand or wrist and went up the tunnel. Now, Dean Evison said post-game he's fine, but of course he's a hockey coach, so he's going to say, he's not going to say, oh my God, we're very concerned. Yes, I would like to see them give him a game off. The issue is Foligno will balk, and so unless he's really hurt, do you do it? I think it's a good idea. I think it probably is. I was concerned that if he didn't break it, that he'd like sprained his wrist or broken a bone in his hand potentially. But yeah, he still plays hard. It feels to me like he is banged up to the point, though, where it might be impacting his performance. And going into the playoffs, the one thing that you 1,000% need is Foligno, Eriksson Ek, and Greenway all playing. Because you take one of them off that damn line, my man, and it changes. We talked about this on a Judd's Hockey Show a few days ago. It changes the entire dynamic of that line. So yes, if they can manage it without it becoming a problem, I think that would be a good idea. They certainly have the depth now, right? Mm-hmm. Duhaime potentially goes up to that third line. If Marcus takes a game off,
hell, you could put Delorier up there if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's God.
Like you could in a pinch. I don't like it long term, but you could do that.
Did you see that fight last night, Delorier?
Oh my God, yeah.
Marcus Foligno, thanks for playing, dude, and I appreciate the fact that you're tough. But that fight between him and Eden Prairie's own former Wild defenseman Nick Seeler, holy shnikes. That was old school. That was the best part. Was they literally stood there, beat the crap out of each other in that fight, and then patted each other on the helmet to be like, good fight, man.
Yeah.
But that was, you know what that was? That was a message to any playoff team that thinks we're going to come in here and shove your team around. Good luck with that guy. I think he's at 11 fights now on the season. And I'm not saying I'm pro fighting, but if you have any inclination to be like, we're going to intimidate the Wild, good luck with that, because this guy, if he comes after you, I would want no part of Nicolas Delorier.
No, not at all.
But I think you're right on. I like your point on Marcus, because he's not going to be healthy for the playoffs, but having him in as good a shape as possible is probably the best idea. And
look, they get these next four as we're recording this on a Wednesday. They have Pittsburgh at home on Thursday to wrap things up at the homestand. And then they have back-to-backs, Carolina, Washington. I mean, that's as tough as it gets in terms of a back-to-back on a road, is going to play the Canes and the Capitals, two really good teams in the East. I know the Wild have played very well against the East, but still, two really good teams. Then they get back home against Nashville, and then they're off for 3 days, which will be a godsend.
That's when? What are the off dates?
They're off Wednesday. They're off Wednesday and Thursday, the 6th and 7th.
Okay.
So, I mean, I can make a case. Look, it'd be hard to take them out of the lineup for those back-to-backs because they're going to want them. But I can make a case after the back-to-back to just rest them for 5 days. Or not play them for 5 days, I should say. No, I mean, because they're not going to just...
That would be what games off?
He'd miss the Nashville game.
3 days.
He would just miss the Nashville game, and he'd have 5. He'd have 4 days
at some
off.
point in time, too, here, he might have to sit.
Yeah.
Like Dean saying he's fine post-game last night does not mean he's fine.
Correct.
Believe it or not, hockey coaches sometimes lie. Do you know who doesn't lie? Do you know who tells the truth every single time, Declan Goff?
Who is that, Chad? Who is
my friends at Livia Weight Control. centers, the very people who have helped me lose approximately 40 pounds, around 240 in September, now down to 201 pounds. And I want to come to you to share the message of how you can get on this program and do what I did. And if Judd can lose the weight, you can too. Join today, get 25% off your program, plus get 35 meals for free. And if you don't live in town and think, but I can't join because they are a Twin Cities based company, that's not true, because we have virtual options. So you can talk to a dietitian, get the food sent to you. If you live outside the state, livea.com is the website, LIVEA 855-GO. Livea 855-GO LIVEA, livea.com, 25% off your program, plus 35 meals for free. Lose the weight, have your clothes fit, feel great for summer. And of course, when you talk to them, tell them that Judd's Hockey Show, Judd and Declan, sent you, because they want you to be in the best shape possible for the playoffs, of course. Livea.com. Final thoughts, my good man?
I'm just happy that the Wild are back to their winning ways. The flower power has been phenomenal. You want a full flower breakdown? Check out this YouTube channel. The Hockey Whisperer speaks and knows his goaltenders. He made up some great comparisons. This is not some slouch here. This is not some guy on the couch. This is not some blogger with analytics. This is the Hockey Whisperer we're talking about.
Well, he is on the couch.
So he knows what he's talking about.
I'm sorry. Couch, but he has some good observations. So.
He does some very good observations. Hit the subscribe button on this YouTube channel. Also, thank you. We set a podcast download record for an episode. Our NHL trade deadline recap episode, Judd, was our most downloaded episode in Judd's Hockey Show history.
Really?
So thank you
awesome.
to our listeners to help us setting us a new record. And by the way,
I didn't get a memo
as we're getting closer, we're a month away from the regular season ending here.
Yep.
Wild Vent Line will return. Judd Zulgad and myself welcoming you, the Wild fans, onto the show to talk about a lengthy playoff run. I can't wait for it, Judd.
And we will be doing those shows home and away after each playoff game, immediately following the game.
Correct.
I think we can do that now. I used to go to the press conferences, which I still enjoy, but we have found that when it comes to our Vent Line franchise here at Score North, you like it most when the game ends and you get on and tell us what you think. Exactly right. It's your show. And so we have listened. We will be doing those shows home and away immediately after games. And there is a graphic for you. Kirill Kaprizov, Upper Deck, one of the greatest players in Minnesota NHL history. And you know what I'm saying? Number one on the list already. He's Declan. I'm Judd. Declan?
There's no room for petty bull. Listen, you guys know what this is all about, right? Right? What's it all about? Spurgey?
Hard work and having fun.
That. This is about winning.